Good morning, everyone. My name is Sonia Marsh, and I'm so happy to be doing another Gutsy Google Hangout today with a wonderful guest, Felicia Johnson. So, good morning, Felicia. Let's just see
Good
who.
morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good. So, my name, as I said, is Sonia Marsh. I'm the founder of the My Gutsy Story series and the author of a memoir, Freeways to Flip-Flops. I'm also a Gutsy book marketing coach, and I would like to introduce all of you to a good friend of mine who actually submitted a My Gutsy Story last year, and that's how we met. And this is Felicia Johnson, and I'd like to give you a little bit of background about her and what we shall be discussing this morning, as it is a really fascinating topic. Felicia Johnson is a child abuse survivor, a writer, a sought-after speaker, a mental health worker, and a youth advocate. She is an active youth mentor at Youth Villages Inner Harbour and has been a volunteer with the Personality Disorder Awareness Network. She engages her audiences with the moving story behind her latest book, Her. It is the story of a young woman with borderline personality disorder who courageously peels back the layers of her complex and serious mental illness in a desperate attempt to understand it. So without further ado, let me introduce once again Felicia Johnson. Good morning again.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
No problem. I know we met in person because
Yes.
in February we were both in Santa Barbara. Both of us were nominated for the Gutsy Gals Award, or the Gutsy Gals Inspire Me Award. So tell me a little bit about how you were nominated and why, and of course I know why, but let everybody else know why.
Well, I received a phone call, I guess, from a friend who actually follows you and saw that you were entering into the Gutsy Gals nominations, and she asked if she could nominate me if I didn't mind, and I didn't think anything of it. I was like, fine, sure, why not? And so just word caught on, and she nominated me, and a few other people nominated me. So I think it was meant for us to meet.
Right, right. And the nomination was based on your book, right?
Yes, it was. Of putting the story out there, a story of survival, and that, I think everyone could benefit from.
Right. And when I read your My Gutsy Story, I remember the beginning was how you got into writing at a very young age, and then what prompted the whole, and you can tell us better than me, but I know that you had a very good friend who committed suicide at age 15. So tell us how this affected you and what it led to.
Well, my best friend, her name was Holly. We were both 15 years old when we met, and we met in an abuse survivors group, a child abuse survivors group, and we were just instant friends. And Holly suffered from borderline personality disorder, and I had major depression. So we were learning how to deal with our past, and how to grow into adults with these things that happen. Well, Holly unfortunately lost her battle with BPD and depression, and she took her own life at a young age. So I started writing journals just to keep up with memories of my friend, what it was like to know her, so that I wouldn't forget her because she was such a great friend. And that's how I came up with the story, Her. Although the story is written in fiction, it is a story of survival, and it takes you, the reader, into the mind of someone who is suffering with borderline personality disorder, and how these journals turned into a book that has the heart of a textbook but is written in fiction, so that people can relate to it. People tend to relate to stories and examples rather than just regular medical text.
I agree, but I think maybe we would like to know, what is border personality disorder? Tell us.
Borderline personality disorder it's a personality disorder, and it actually, people who suffer from it tend to have a pervasive pattern of instability in their interpersonal relationships and their affect. And also their self-image can be a bit askew. Some of the symptoms could be like the main character in the book, she suffers with self-harming
Oh,
and cutting,
right.
and she has to learn how to cope with these feelings of emptiness and feelings of abandonment, like people don't love her. And people with borderline personality disorder can suffer with those similar symptoms as well, among others.
Did she, does this start at a very young age? Is this something that Holly had as a very young child? And
I mean, when I knew her, it
right,
was things that we talked about, so I don't know when it started. But for some people, well, most people with borderline personality disorder, it does start in early adulthood.
early adulthood. Okay. And so you wrote the book. When did you publish it?
It was published in 2013, actually, a little over a year ago. It was June 2013, and it was published by 8th Street Publishing.
Okay. And just a question, I'm just curious why it took you that long to write that story.
Well, it wasn't that it took me a long time to write it. Again, they were journals. They
Right.
were just journals, and I was studying psychology in school, and I'm still currently working my way up to earning my PhD, but I didn't really think to turn it into a story until I went back and opened those journals again, and I started to have, I guess, a level of empathy for for people who I met and in my studies and everything, who had loved ones that suffered from not just borderline personality disorder, but anorexia, substance abuse issues, and working in mental health, being a mental health specialist now, it inspired me as a writer
Right.
to write something for those who, not just those who suffer, but loved ones, families, friends of loved ones who would like to see that there is hope, who would like to understand what it's like in the mind of someone suffering and why they're doing what they're doing.
And with your current work that you do on a daily basis, are you counseling young people? And
No, I'm not a counselor yet. Like I said, I'm working my way up to my
right.
PhD now, but I am a mental health specialist. I am a youth mentor,
Okay.
and I do continue to study and use my studies in my work.
And tell us a little bit about your own childhood and how that affected you.
Well, when you come from a background where they consider you a troubled child, and you do things like self-harm, and you don't really understand what happened to you as a child. You're not understanding that you have been abused, you were abused. They tell you things like it could go either way. You can either
Hmm.
choose a life of being a criminal, or take your own life and lose your battle, or you can be what is called a survivor.
Right.
And I felt like I would like to be a survivor. You can't change the past, you can't change what happened to you. But as a child, I thought, when I was coming out of that situation, when I was being educated on, what had actually happened to me, and learned to understand it and why it happened, I think that Holly's death is really what woke me up,
Right.
because it was right there in front of my eyes. It's one thing when somebody tells you, but then you see it and you experience that loss and what it's like. And I thought to myself, we can be a survivor, we can be a thriver eventually. So that's what, I chose to do.
And so your best friend's suicide actually triggered you to become a better person and to help other
Right,
people. And tell
right.
us a little bit about your own childhood. You were the oldest of four children, is it?
Yes, in our household that we lived in, it
Right.
was me, and I had two brothers and a little sister, and we took it a day at a time, coming out of that, and learn, I guess, educating ourselves. I think that's the best thing you can do, is educate yourself to understand. That's how you overcome. So that was very important for us, and still is now, as we're all adults. All my brothers and sisters, we're all grown up now. We continue to educate ourselves and then share what we've learned.
So your siblings are also trying to do what you do, help other people?
Or just
Or
take good care of
I
themselves, make
see.
sure they're okay, so that they can function every day in life.
Right.
That's the best thing you can do. I just choose to take it a step further. There's a level of empathy that's always been inside of me to want to help others, and this was just a way to begin it, I guess, writing this book.
And I know that now your book, you want to turn it into a movie,
Yes.
and I think that's fabulous. And I know you've been working very hard at this. Tell us where you're at and what your plans are as far as turning it into a film.
Well, Her has come a long way in the past year. It's been selling very well, and I've gotten great feedback from it. And so we were inspired to the person. Tanina Kelly actually wrote the two book trailers that we have.
I will
And they're
screen share your website as you're talking, so keep going.
excellent, excellent. She wrote two book trailers. One's called The Pain and one is called The Hope. And the reason why we made two book trailers were to sort of show the most classic symptom of borderline personality disorder, which is the black and white thinking. Things are either really good or really bad. And so we have the pain and we have the hope. And we got real actors, we got some producers involved, and with this very small budget, we made two short films, and we had a lot of really good feedback on the two book trailers with these real
Are you there?
actors.
Your voice is fading out.
I'm trying to, I'll turn my volume up, see if that works.
I think it's just sometimes it's the internet. Just curious, just give us a little, I know this is a different topic, but give us a tiny bit of an example of how you started this whole process.
Well, we were just making book trailers, just to promote the book, and it turned into something more. When people saw the two book trailers, they wondered, "Oh, are these movie trailers?" And we were like, "No, these just to promote the book." You know, we decided to use live actors, live action actors, to bring characters to life. And then people were saying, "Well, are you going to make a movie?" So Tanina Kelly, who was the person who wrote the two screenplays for the short films or book trailers, she actually wrote a full-length movie script on it.
Wow.
And so, yeah, so it's been through editing and it's ready to get some producers involved. So next month, we're actually going to start a crowdfunding campaign on hatchfund.org, and we're going to keep it independent. And just like the book, it's indie, published by an indie publisher, and we're gonna bring these characters to life for
Right.
those who may not read as much, but people who, even especially those who inquired about it after seeing the trailers. It was actually the fans' idea to turn it into a
Oh,
movie.
that's wonderful. Is it going to be very closely based on the actual story and or is it going to be more like a documentary?
Oh no, it's going to be a live action film. It's actually
Okay.
going to be a film with actors portraying the characters that are written in the book.
Okay. That's great. And your goal with the movie is tell us what your goal is.
Our goal with the movie is to raise more awareness on mental health. Just like with the book, we are aware that there aren't many people who actually have time to sit down and read a book, but they want to know more about mental illness and BPD. In the story, it doesn't just talk about borderline personality disorder. There are characters who suffer from anorexia, bulimia, substance abuse issues, major depression. It's all in there, and these characters have stories, and they're all their lives intertwine, and so there's something for everyone. But the main message is hope. So we want to raise awareness and give hope to others.
Do, I think that's fabulous. I want to know, do you have statistics on how many people are actually affected by, I know it's a very vague question, but when you put in anorexia, borderline personality disorder, and all this, it sounds like it would be quite a huge percentage of the population that suffers from some kind of
Well,
uh,
even if you don't suffer yourself with a diagnosis of
right.
some sort of mental illness or personality disorder, we all deal with it day to day. You may not know that the person that you work with is suffering with something, but you may feel like something is wrong. You may not know how to talk to them, or a loved one, a child, a friend. It could be anybody in your life.
Right.
And I think that that's what we're trying to reach as far as borderline personality disorder. It affects about 1 to 2% of our population.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure that number could be bigger if we just raised more awareness. People would be more aware of it or more inclined to speak up about it.
And
It's such a taboo subject for a lot of people.
And I'm kind of surprised in a way that it is a taboo subject, because I'll just give you a very an observation from my side. For example, being handicapped in America has been accepted far more by the general population than being handicapped, say, in France, where I grew up. You would not see friendly handicapped ramps, and people would not admit, they would basically very often hide the handicapped. And so America is a country that seems to be more open to people with disabilities, people with problems. So I am a little bit surprised why it's such a taboo subject. Do you have any ideas or thoughts on that?
I'm pretty sure there's a wide spectrum of it, but
Right.
mostly there is a level of shame. Because
Okay.
usually there's a background, and like child abuse, and that will require people taking responsibility for themselves or their loved ones, or maybe their involvement in someone's having depression. I think it's just harder for people to talk about because there's a lot of shame
Right.
behind mental illness. There's a stigma that that's hard for people to let go of, and that's the point of educating ourselves and talking about it and raising awareness.
And do you
And
think that young people are more adaptable and are more willing to discuss this than, say, do you think it's changing is basically what I'm trying to...
I think it's changing. I think it's changing all around with the more education that
Right.
people, give themselves and seek the knowledge that people seek. That's what's going to get rid of that stigma on mental health.
And are there more young people who say come from a childhood of abuse? Are there more and more that are turning towards centers that can help them than
I I do
previously?
speak to I do speak to a lot of young people in my work, and I find that they find it still a shameful thing to speak about. But when you have somebody when they have someone to tell them it's okay, I can't judge you, or I know how you feel, let's talk about it. When they have that encouragement to talk about it, they do speak up.
And do you also talk about abuse within older people and relationships, marriages, or is it mainly the focus of the young people in your
Um,
film and in your book?
in the book, the focus in the story is on child abuse and
Okay.
survival, but the main topic of the story is mental illness.
Okay. Okay. So tell us more about what you're hoping to achieve with your crowdfunding. And I had not heard of hatchfund.org. So we discussed it a little bit when I talked to you the other day. Maybe you could tell us why you like that organization and what it is that you're going to be doing to raise
Well,
funds.
I like hatchfund.org better than, say, Kickstarter, GoFundMe, is because they have a higher percentage of success. The reason why is because you have to be an established artist to start a hatch fund.
Okay.
So you have to either be published, or you have to already have movies out that you've produced or directed, even if they're short films. But even being nominated for an award, you do have to have something to show for your success. So I feel like they have more personal, one-on-one direct contact with you. They basically hold your hand as
Right.
you're creating your hatch fund and getting it ready to launch. And if you need to talk to someone's always available. You have a project manager who you can
That's right.
contact directly, either through email or by telephone. and they will set up appointments with you. They show you that they are interested in you being successful in your campaign. So I think hedge fund was the best way to go in doing my research on how we could get these funds to make this film.
And what is the date that you're launching this? Because I'd like to help promote it for you.
Absolutely. We're hoping to launch on August 5th. If not on that day, it will be on or around August 5th.
Okay, and did you make a little, see, I did a pub slush campaign for the books, because that focuses on books. Did you make a little, we had to make a video. Did you have to make a little video for your, to promote what you're doing, or how does that work?
Well, we're going to use the 2 book trailers.
Okay.
Because we feel like the book trailers will speak for itself. It will be the little mini short films. So we're hoping that that will inspire people to want to see more.
Okay, and I know that you are a great speaker and that you want to go out and speak all over the country and maybe even internationally.
Yeah.
Tell me what you would love to see happen as far as your own personal experience.
What I would love to see happen is to start a big awareness campaign. I was on Mid Morning Live a couple weeks ago and they asked me, are you on a book tour? Are you touring with your book? And I'm not really interested in book tours. I'm more interested in awareness campaigns. And if I could sign a few books, that would be great. But I think that what would make this a success is if I can speak to more people and get them to talk about mental illness and mental health and wellness more. That's what I'm more interested in.
And I think that's brilliant, and I know you will succeed. I just want to know how many, are there any, there must be some groups, international or not national groups, that are dealing with all these topics. Are they not very out there in the public? Or is it more? Go ahead.
I have no idea. I think the more people you talk to, the more you find, the more you research you do and education, that, it'll all come together eventually. It just takes a lot of work.
Yeah, and I know that you've been working hard at this. Every time we talk, you're always on some project doing something for your film coming up. How many actors do you have lined up for the film?
We're looking at certain people. We've only cast one person in a role so far, just because that person really blew us away, and we would like them to reprise their role in the actual film. So Matthew Hendren was the actor who portrays the Mr. Sharp character in the book trailers, both book trailers, and so we thought he just scared us good enough. I feel like he'll scare the rest of America with that creepy character in the film.
Yeah, and have you been, I don't know who that actor is, but are you trying to, I mean, I'm sure you have tried to get some semi-famous person who has that as a cause, since so many actors have causes, like different types of causes?
All I can say is we're working on it.
I knew you were.
We're working on it.
Good. Yeah, that would be wonderful. I mean, unfortunately, that's the way to go, is to get promotion nationwide, is to have someone who's already a little bit well known.
Yeah.
So, good. So the next step is your funding campaign, and then how long is that going to last, and how much do you hope to raise?
Well, we're going to do 30 to 45 days, and hopefully we can raise at least $90,000 to get pre-production started and get more producers interested. And with that, maybe we'll get a little more help after that. But we'd like to go ahead and get it going, get pre-production going. Good.
And your role in the whole thing is the producer?
Actually, no, we have one production company on hand, and that's SPE Productions. They actually were the ones to produce the book trailers, and they are on board for the long haul, they said, so we're really happy about that. But I guess right now my whole thing is to help raise these funds and help put everything together.
And be the spokesperson for the future, which I can just I can visualize you there, Fee.
All right. I
You'll
need
have
that
your own.
visualization.
Yes, yes. And anyway, we're running out of time, but is there anything else that you would like to say before we end, and also to list your website again and your book?
Sure, yeah. My website is herthebook.com. It should be right there on the bottom of
Yes.
the screen.
Yes.
And you can watch both book trailers through the website, and people can find me, through social media through the website. So I hope to be able to hear from everyone and connect with everyone. And my book is currently on Amazon.com. On Kindle as well as a hard copy. I'm old fashioned. I like hardback
Yes.
books.
I'm like
But
you.
yeah, and also Barnes and Noble and all those other places books are sold. So
Right. And your story, your My Gutsy Story, is in the My Gutsy Story first anthology as well.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah. So anyway, I have really enjoyed hearing what you had to say, and I wish you all the best of luck with your future, with the movie, with your book, with speaking, because that's what you really want to do.
yes.
And thank you so much for this. And I just want to thank
You.
everyone for listening today. I'm Sonia Marsh again. Have a wonderful weekend. And I will be back again with another interview. So my website is soniamarsh.com. If any of you also have a gutsy story you'd like to share, please contact me. You can do so on the website, soniamarsh.com. Thank you so much, Fee. And goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.